Okay, my name is Tim Black, and I'm the wing leader for the Central Texas Wing here with the B-25 Yellow Rose.
Now give us your military experience.
I did 25 years active duty in the Air Force. I flew mostly fighters. I flew the A-10 Warthog for 12 years, which I'm very proud of. I had a good time doing that, and then various other aircraft. And then after I retired from the military, I flew for UPS for 16 years, and I've been flying the B-25 now since 2001.
Really? This one here?
Yes.
Wow. Flying it in the air shows?
Air shows, stack displays. We do flyovers for funerals, celebrations, parades, football games. We did all the flyovers at the Formula One track in Austin for the last couple of years for all the different races they had there with our airplanes from our hangar in San Marcos. And we did the Texas Valero Open golf tournament that they had here in March. And we've done flyovers for the University of Texas home football game when they honor the veterans in November, as well as Texas State University as well.
Without getting too deep into history, what is the significance of the Yellow Rose?
The Yellow Rose is a B-25. It's the same type, it's a Mitchell bomber, the same type airplane the Doolittle Raiders flew when they took off the carrier Hornet and bombed Japan in April after Pearl Harbor was December the 7th. And so the United States was really down from the damage that was done from that attack. So morale was down. And so if people are familiar with history, in April of 1942, they came up with a plan to put 16 Army B-25 bombers on the carrier Hornet and sail it across and do a surprise attack on Japan. And so it was a super secret mission that did that. Well, all those aircraft had never taken off, and the crews had never taken off a carrier before. But they practiced in South Carolina and they practiced in Florida on hard runways, but they kept decreasing the distance that they could use to take off, but they didn't know why they were doing that. And so when they got on the carrier, then they realized why they had to have the short distance for takeoff. But they still didn't know where they were going until the fleet sailed, and they were told once they left port that they were actually going on a mission to bomb Japan. And so they sailed out across the Pacific there, and when they took off and did the mission, they didn't have enough gas to make it all the way to the China fields that they were supposed to land in. And so all the aircraft either crashed in the water or they bailed out over land and crash landed in China. One did, of the 16 airplanes, one went to Russia and landed there, and they were interned by the Russians for a year, and then they escaped. But that was the only one that made it through. The rest of them either crashed or they bailed out of or landed and they crashed that way. And so the significance was that changed the whole outlook of the war. It made Japan realize that they were vulnerable, they could be attacked. The morale in the United States really picked up. This is the same type airplane the Doolittle Raiders flew. Dick Cole is one of the two remaining survivors. He was the co-pilot for Jimmy Doolittle on the lead airplane, and he'll be 100 years old in the next month or two, and he's 99 now, and he's one of two that are remaining out of the 80 crew members that did the mission. So we feel very honored to fly this airplane. When we go to air shows, our first pass is like a Doolittle raid pass, where we go around low and then we pop up to come over in front of the crowd and show how they did their attack on Japan. So we're honored that we can represent those guys when we go to air shows.
Does that ever get old to do it on this significant weekend?
This weekend, no, it never gets old. No matter what weekend I do it. We're honored to be here at Stinson Field this weekend, along with the C-47 out of Burnett and the Texas Raiders out of Houston. And there are a couple other T-6 and another a bi-wing airplane that are going to be here this weekend as well for people to come out and take a tour through or purchase flights on, history flights. I think it's Stinson100.com. If they go to that website, they can pre-register if they want a ride on one of the airplanes out here. But we're all here to working together to have people come out and experience history. That's our big thing. People say, why do you do that? Because we're all volunteers in the commemorative Air Force. We do it because we love history and we love honoring the guys who flew these airplanes back in the war. When you have a family that comes out here, or they say, well, my dad or my grandfather flew these types of airplanes. He never talked about it. Or then we have, they get to see it up close. Or we have a veteran come out here, and he says, well, I haven't been on this airplane since 1945. And they get emotional. Sometimes they cry. sometimes they start talking and maybe telling stories about, I remember this. I remember, their memory is fantastic because they can tell you dates and times, names of people they flew with. And
Messed up that good soundbite, right? Okay. Well, I'm going to ask you to say that one more time about the memory.
okay.
As soon as we know they're done there. Okay. And you say this will bring back a lot of memories for veterans, get them to talking.
Well, when we have a World War II veteran come out here and they get up close and see the airplane and they realize this is something they flew in 1945 and they haven't seen it since. You know, that's 68 years ago. And so they get emotional. And they'll maybe start talking to their family about what they did, missions they did, and how when they flew the airplane. And so it brings out, and we've had family members say, you know, until he saw your airplane, he never talked about it. And now he's telling stories that get us to know what he did in the war. So for us, it gets to be an honor to do that. And on our airplane, we have anybody who was a crew member on the B-25 sign our bomb bay, inside the bomb bay. So we give them that honor of doing that, and they really like that.